Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cleveland Guardians. So, today we are going to begin it with the much anticipated international amateurs. As promised, I came up with plenty of cash for them, largely in trades that involved cash. We racked up $65 million, so I'm going to quickly go over those trades and then we're going to look at the amateurs and the ones we will sign. So, one of the big trades we made was sending Chad Green to the Milwaukee Brewers. He was, as you guys probably remember, one of our rental acquisitions in the offseason, but he hasn't really pitched great for us. So I traded him away. We are going to use guys that we have plenty of pitching depth to replace him, basically. So I thought, you know what, if we're getting like 20 million bucks for him, why the heck wouldn't I make this trade? We also sent away Casey Sadler, who is not really one of our better relievers. We also took on Justin Topa, who the Brewers didn't really like, but I think will do just fine in our bullpen. We also made a trade with the Reds, getting some cash. I also sent Alex Verdugo to them. This was mostly because he is disruptive and has refused to sign a long-term extension with us. In return, we got Nick Senzel, who's pretty similar player overall, a little less defense, probably a little worse hitting, but he's a spark plug, and I immediately managed to get him on a long-term extension, so we'll see him sign that in the next couple days. Pretty team friendly. We also got in this trade Shogo Akiyama, who is getting significantly overpaid in arbitration. So as you're going to see, he is no longer with us. So I also shipped away Kyle Seager, who was one of our largest salaries on the year. He has a good personality and has been playing good defense, but his hitting just hasn't really been there. So I didn't see a reason to keep him around, making 11 million bucks for us. In return, we actually got a pretty interesting player in Eric Miller. This is a solid pitching prospect. I think he's definitely got the potential to start or relieve well in our organization. So we're going to have to see where we end up with him. We also sent Shogo Akiyama to the San Diego Padres. In return, we got a couple pitchers. Reggie Lawson is a pretty good relief prospect. He's likely going to fill that role in our team, but he's got the potential to start as well, so maybe we can use him as a trade chip there. Pedro Vila is really just starting pitching depth for our organization. We'll see if he ends up anywhere, but I have a feeling he's just going to stick in AAA. So, because we now have a hole at third base after trading away Kyle Seager, I gave up a 4 prospect package to the Oakland Athletics for Didi Gregorius, who is a pretty good hitter. I think he's better than Kyle Seager overall, and he's also a good fielder. He's going to train at well at third base. He's already got some existing training, but I don't think he's all the way there. He's a captain as well, so that'll help our dugout. He is currently injured 8 weeks, so I called up Tyler Freeman, and we're going to be starting Devin Marrero at third base in the meantime. And then, of course, we made that Brewers trade. Now, as for the amateurs themselves, I want to sign 4 to 5 of them. Obviously, Jose Diaz, who's the ridiculous potential batter with an outstanding personality, is going to be one of them. I think we're going to come out of the gate here with a $3.5 million offer. He is a really good hitter, and I'd be surprised if he goes that low. He's probably a first baseman long term, with his defense not really cutting it at second, and definitely not in the outfield. So there is that. Poya, I think we're going to come back to. I like his power potential, but defensively, he doesn't really fit anywhere except first base. And I'm not in love with the profile, even though it is decent. Jose Arena was that knuckleballer. He's got really good movement and control, plus stamina. So I think he's a guy we're definitely going to give an offer to. I'm thinking probably 5 million out of the gate. I don't want to go too high, but we'll have to see. Oh, and it looks like we are actually going to have to pay penalties for going well over the cap, so we'll see about that. But John Gomez, a great hitter who can actually play the outfield. I love his all-around profile. We are going to give him an offer. 6 million, yeesh. Okay. And I think we wanted to give one more guy an offer. Oh yeah, Willie Ramos. He is ridiculous hitting potential, probably a left fielder long term, but he also can play first base if need be. I love the hitting here. That's really the big reason we're signing him, even with the bad personality. So we're going to come out of the gate with 4.5 million for him. And man, that penalty of 13 million, that kind of stings. But you know what? For this caliber, we're getting 4 superstar players for what, $30 million is what we're estimated right now. So that's pretty good. Now, this is what our lineups currently look like. We've got Nick Senzel. Actually, I don't know if he should be hitting this low versus righties. Yeah, let's move him up a couple slots. I like Senzel pretty well versus right. Oh, definitely moving Devin Marrero down. And yeah, so I'm pretty confident in Nick Senzel's ability to fill in well for our team. He's also batting third versus lefties. I like his overall profile really darn well. I think he's going to be a great acquisition for us. Now, this is what our bullpen looks like now that we've traded Chad Green and Casey Sadler. Drew Rasmussen and Cody Heuer are going to be dual stoppers for the time being. If Matt Strom keeps pitching like he has, he could possibly find himself in that role as well. Junior Fernandez, Brett DeJuice, Marshall Kasowski, Emmanuel Clace, and Justin Loizaga will be joining Strom as middle relievers for the time being. And Justin Topa, our acquisition from the Brewers, will be a long reliever. Yeah, so I think our team is well set, and we'll get into simulating. I'll come back to you guys with updates on the amateurs and in the near future, also the first year player draft. All right, well, it's been a day, and we've already got two of our prospects demanding more money. So we've got Willie Ramos here, who wants, yeah, I mean, I guess this amount is fine. We'll give him $4.25 million in this next offer here. Hopefully he bites at that. And Jose Arena, the knuckleballer, let's see what he's asking for now. 7.3 million. That is a lot of money. So let's see if he bites at 8.5. I really hope so because I don't want to give him too much money. We also got a proposal from the Yankees, which doesn't really matter. So I'm going to keep on going and I'll come back to you guys with the next update. All right, we've got some good news. Jose Diaz has signed for our initial offer, which really surprises me. I did not think that was going to be enough for him. I mean, it was only like $4.5 million, something like that, and he took it. So that's great news for us. John Gomez also signed with us. Let's see who else we've got here. Wait, Trey Turner has signed an extension with the Angel. That's interesting. All right, so we've got Willie Ramos and Jose Arena. We signed all four of the guys that we hoped, some of them relatively cheaply, and that's a great update for our future. So I think I'll get back to you guys once we're ready for the MLB draft. Unfortunately, no team has claimed Justin Verlander, so we are going to have to put him back on our active roster. I'm going to demote Brett DeJuice to make room for him. He still has yet to give up a run, homer, or walk, but yeah, we're going to have to demote him. Verlander will slot in as a reliever until we can figure something out. I don't think he's willing to waive his no-trade clause yet. I mean, come on. Justin Verlander literally got put through DFA process, and he's not willing to waive his no-trade clause. All right, well, anyways, he's just going to have to fill that long relief role for the time being. He can be a emergency starting pitcher as well. Hopefully he doesn't suck too much in our bullpen, and we'll get on going to that amateur draft. Just pulling you guys out real quick for a little bit of a prospect update. So first thing first, I have promoted some of our top international prospects, including every single guy that we just signed in the amateurs signing period. So we've currently got a lot of guys in that rookie league, a lot of really high-end talent. So as we see those guys go up, that'll be pretty interesting. Our top selection in last year's draft, Jalen Hurd, is progressing really nicely. Just made his way to Double A after putting up some pretty good rates and overall ERA plus at High A. So hopefully we'll see his success continue there. And one of our top catching prospects, Jung Joon Kim, is out with military service, the worst injury of all. So hopefully he could recover speedily. Maybe we'll even see him suffer a setback. That would be gravely unfortunate. But anyways, I believe the next time I'm going to be pulling you guys out will be for the first year player draft. So hopefully we can acquire some nice talent there, and I'll see you guys then. All right, everybody, it is time for the first year player draft. Due to some issues with the draft last year, I had to randomize the order, and the computer was polite enough to give us the second overall selection. Now, we got some interesting prospects in this pool here. The pitcher I'm liking the most is Steve Kellner, although I've considered Jared Dufresne. I like Kellner a little bit better. The other guys that I would consider with our selection are Clint Rush, who I think could be a really interesting third baseman with power and an overall well-rounded batting profile, and outfielder Steve Soto, who's got some pretty good defense for a corner, really well developed already, and another excellent, well-rounded batting profile. In the OSA mock draft, Phil DeForest is projected to go first overall, which I would be really, really happy about because he is pretty garbage relative to some of these other top prospects. So we're going to get right into this draft and see what happens here. Oh, and disappointingly, Cincinnati is smart enough to take Steve Soto with the first overall selection, which brings us down to the decision of Clint Rush, the third base prospect, or Steve Kellner, the pitching prospect. And I think I want to take a quick look at what our third base prospects look like because, well, we've got Bobby Perez, but Bobby Perez is really far out from the majors. And behind him, Maximo Acosta is not that great. Jonathan Lopez is flat garbage. So we could place all our chips in Bobby Perez, which I think would be a decent move. And now I want to take a quick look at our starting pitching prospects. We've obviously got Jose Arena, who we just signed. Jalen Hurd is a pretty nice looking prospect. Eric Miller, if he's our third prospect, I think we're in trouble. Yeah, I'm not loving our pitching prospects so much. Let's see if either of those guys are projected to make it to the second round. Jack Leiter was actually projected to go third overall. I don't know why he's in this draft. Let's see here. Clint Rush is projected to go fourth overall, so he's certainly not making it to that second round. I don't see our pitcher here. Our pitcher is Steve Kellner, or Kneller. Now, obviously, the mock draft is not 100% accurate, but it looks like Steve Kellner has a legitimate chance to make it to the second round. While there is no chance for Clint Rush. So I think at worst we're probably going to have some kind of really good pitching prospect available in round two. We're not going to have a hitter of the caliber of Clint Rush. He is just miles better than just about everyone else available. So we're going to meet his demand and draft him with our second overall selection in this year's draft. Jaden Jones is a really interesting prospect here, still available in the second round. We've also got Dan Meter, who is all power. I think if we take a hitter, it's probably going to be Jason Jones. Likely to be an outfielder, although interesting that he does have ratings at every position defensively. So we've also got here Sal Frelick, who's a pretty good prospect. Judson Fabian, who is okay. Eric Evans, he's not in the running for me. I don't like Del Castillo either. So I think it's going to come down to probably either Jones or a pitcher here. For the pitchers, we've got Andrew Abbott. He's okay. I wouldn't take him over the hitter. Ruben Algarin. He's okay. I still wouldn't take him over the hitter. Not liking Butch there. It is a shame that Burleson is a two-pitch guy right now because he would be a dominant starting pitcher with 3+. He's also going through elbow ligament reconstruction surgery, which sucks for him, and his personality's not great. I mean, at worst, this dude is an absolute shutdown reliever, so he's somebody we'll look at in the third round. Don't like Louis. Mule is Tommy Myers. This is a decent pitching prospect. Still wouldn't take him over the other guy, but I think we're going to go with the hitter here. We're almost certainly going with the hitter. Jordan Wicks is good, but yeah, we just got to go with the hitter here. The pitchers are decent, but nowhere near the caliber of player that we see in Jason Jones, the top hitting prospect left. Does Osei kind of agree with our head scout? Oh, maybe feel a little better. Kind of. So we'll have to see if he ends up meeting that potential that our scout has him set at. And yeah, that'll be pretty interesting to follow. All right, for the top hitting prospects, the guys that are left, not too appealing to me. Looks like we still got a few interesting pitching prospects left, though. And Dan Meter. His demand is only 500,000, so honestly, if he slips another round, I would legitimately consider this guy. He does have some interesting batting potential, certainly is at least trade bait. Andy Burleson still available. I think he could be a very good pick here if we want to go that route. Nazier Mule, he has some really interesting potential, but I don't like the low developed changeup. Tommy Myers is an interesting prospect. Evan Ciari is a good starting pitching prospect, as is Jordan Wicks. It's tough to pass on these two guys here because they do both have pretty good potential, although once again we've got an underdeveloped changeup on Evan Ciari. I think Burleson is probably set to slip yet another round. Let's see if there's any really, really dominant relievers. I'm loving Jeff Gilmore here. But once again, this is a guy I could see falling another round. Man, Steve Hearn, also a dominant reliever. Jack Knapp, yet another really strong relief pitcher. Chris Cross, man, there's a lot of these guys here. I kind of wish I'd traded for some of these second, third round draft picks because this relief class is just ridiculous. Lots of guys that could be MLB relievers this year and just dominate. I really don't know. It could be Meter, honestly, at this point, because there's just no real standout starting pitchers. We've got a couple of guys who are borderline relievers. I mean, really, it's Tommy Myers, I think, if we go for a pitcher. And I don't like Tommy Myers that much. So, as much as it pains me, we're going to be drafting a power heavy first baseman in the second round, or is this the third? I think it was the second? I'm not sure. All right. Anyways, now let's take one more look at these starting pitchers here. Andy Burleson's still available, but it looks like everyone but Tommy Myers is still available, as is Nazier Mule. I think Burleson is the pick here. He could be a dominant pitcher if that third pitch comes around, which it's very unlikely to, but you never know. And at worst, he's a very, 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 very good reliever. So let's just go down to him and set him to reliever. Andy Burleson. Yeah, this guy could be a really good reliever. Just look at that potential. Fastball slider combo. He's got stamina and hold runners. Movement and control are both really high. All right, so we've got Steve Hearn. It looks like some of the top relievers have started to go. I think Steve Hearn is probably the best option on the board right now, partially because he's basically MLB ready, although I really like Jamie Rivera as well. Outstanding personality. The stamina and hold runners are really good. But man, this personality combined with the fact that he'll probably be MLB ready by next year, that really adds some interesting spin to this decision process. But you know what? Honestly, Jamie Rivera is basically ready too. He's got a really good personality to go with it, so I think we're drafting him here. Chris Lau, the only five-star relief prospect left, he's not really as good as I'd like to have him. Steve Robinson, I honestly think I like a little bit better here. So we'll go with Robinson at this selection. See if we have any guys left here. Ryan Bay looks pretty good. I like him. We'll probably go with that guy. Yeah, and it's going to be Ryan Bay. Now, do we have any interesting quality prospects left at this point? Do we have any starting pitchers that slipped through or starting pitchers who are really relievers that have made it to this stage of the draft? Michael McGreevy is not bad. He was a top prospect in last year's draft in real life. Not sure, once again, why he's in this year's draft. Logan Solomon could be interesting. Bay Wichter is not good. Okay, so Logan Solomon if we're going with a pitcher here. Adrian Del Castillo still available. I find that interesting. He is a decent hitter, but he is not a catcher. We could draft him as a first baseman, but I'm not loving that idea. I think at this stage we could take a look at some fielding ratings. So for outfield range, in other words, our true center fielders, we've got Mike Ritchie here. He's pretty interesting. I think this is a guy we could take in a few rounds. Couple other guys who could maybe... Oh man, this personality on Kevin Franklin is ridiculous. I'm sure this guy could develop into a center fielder with some good work from our coaches. I like that other guy up there, but not enough to shortlist him. Same with that guy. A lot of these guys have that lower power but decent everything else profile that I like. Not going to shortlist the rest though. All right, we got two really high range infielders here. Tim Cleaver, who I think has the best shot at sticking at shortstop. I don't like the personality though, so we're going to have to wait a while before drafting him. And Mike Petrick. He's got a much better personality, but the error is a lot lower, which kind of concerns me for his long-term prospects of sticking at short. Not a fan of that personality, really not a fan of anything but the range on that guy. All right, this guy looks like he could be good. Yeah, probably as a second baseman more than the shortstop, but Jeremy Seifert is fine. I'm just really not loving the rest of these options. Nate Schaller, I guess, could be a super utility guy with his infield and outfield defense being as good as they are, but I think we're going to start looking at some of these catchers, and none of them super appeal to me. I think we'll shortlist Eric Byers as a potential later round selection, but he's certainly not going to be a guy I'm going to target. Same with Dan Ganova. Eh, if the personality was better, I'd be interested in Mike Matos, but just not at that point. A lot of these catchers are just not very good. Yeah, I'm not liking that enough. We're gonna just pass. Like, maybe we draft Byers, but this draft class of catchers does not intrigue me. So we are not gonna look to take too many of them. You know what? This guy's got a good personality. He's probably a minor league catcher at best, but he could at least help with some of the guys. All right, let's see if there's any guys who are really good personalities that are still available. All right, we've got three guys with top tier personalities. Adam Oviedo. You know what? This is a guy I can legitimately see as a second baseman on an MLB team with a little bit of development. Really good on base skills, solid defense, and outstanding personality. Colin Spear, power hitting first baseman, he's all right. And Jerry Talbot, I think this guy's got some good potential. So I think we're going to go with Talbot here and then Oviedo in the next round. And then we'll go back. Oh, right. I'm still looking at all batters. So there could be some pitchers with really good personalities. We got Gavin Van Kempen. With the lack of pitching in this draft, I think we'll actually go with him. All right, let's go back to looking at just the best players available. Del Castillo is still available, which really surprises me. I think we'll look at some batting ratings now, or batting potential, rather. And you know what? Once we hit the 15th round, I'm going to start drafting off stream because it'll start getting old. Wow, this Brandon Smith guy, he's a pitcher with some really intriguing batting potential, so we'll shortlist him and take him in a few rounds. Probably a first baseman defensively, unfortunately. As much as I hate to say it, Ray Bermudez is probably the best hitter left in the draft. Let's actually sort by eyes. Let's get some higher eye guys. If we see somebody with contact, that could be a potential selection. Joe Brown, he's a leader, and he's got work ethic, so he's not bad. Don't think he's got a spot in an MLB team at any point in his career, but he's not bad. Xavier Isaac once again coming up. Got a couple of players here that I don't really like that much. Braden Smith comes up again. Xavier Perez, yet another pitcher who is probably better as a hitter, but it's difficult to say. I think we'll shortlist him and take another look at him in a little bit. I'm just not liking many of these hitting options. Here we go. This guy could probably work out somewhere in the infield. He's got a really good personality. Yeah, these are not intriguing me. Let's look at some pitching potential. Start with movement. I like movement a lot on my pitchers for live starts. All right, top guy is Dave Barr, who's really a reliever, but could actually be a pretty good one. So I think we'll give him the short list, possibly select him in a few rounds. Okay, Nico Cole is actually not a bad starting pitcher. Josh Fitzpatrick could be a legitimate MLB player at some point. Okay, TJ Hellard could be a starting pitcher. I like his intelligence, I like his age, I like the stamina. Yeah, I think at this point it's got to be Nico Cole because just nobody really compares to him. I'm going to take another quick look at some control guys, but I'm pretty sure that's the route we're going here. I like this Kevin Jaxel guy. I'll shortlist him for later. Yeah, I think we're going this route. There are some interesting pitching prospects. I think from here on out, though, there's just not that many really intriguing prospects. So I'll probably complete the rest of the draft off the video and get back to you guys with a quick overview afterwards. All right, so I have completed the draft, and the biggest things that we've got here are I'd say probably Adrian Del Castillo actually fell so far that I thought he was a worthwhile acquisition for us. He will play first base in our organization, hopefully add enough value that he'll be tradable at some point. And really, I just drafted guys with personalities and guys that I thought had a decent amount of upside. The biggest notable acquisition outside of that is a certain guy from Ohio State University, as you can see down here, named Justin Fields, that you may be familiar with if you follow football. He was a top quarterback prospect. Um, I don't remember which draft because I don't really follow football that closely. I just know that he is a top prospect. It was interesting that he has decided to forego his football career that looked quite promising for a baseball career that will likely end up with him retiring before he hits the major leagues. He is very much high in his leader ability, so I found that to be interesting, and that is literally why I drafted him. Anyways, I will give you guys the next update going forwards. Hopefully, this team can continue to play like they have, and we'll see how it goes. All right, the All-Star rosters have been announced. We are surprisingly only going to be represented by three players. Shane Bieber, who will be a pitcher in the All-Star game. Mike Trout, who is, Mike Trout. And Cody Bellinger, who has been one of the best, if not the best players in the AL up to this point. So heading into this All-Star break, we are 7 games up on the Chicago White Sox. Bellinger is absolutely raking. He's got a really high OPS. He's slugging, getting on base, doing everything well. His defense has been outstanding in left. Um, Miguel Rojas is actually second in our team in WAR right now. He's been hitting really well and fielding well, of course, as you'd expect. Mike Trout, he's doing Mike Trout things. He's hitting for power. The average is a little low, but he's still getting on base really well, and you can't be too unhappy with him at all. Shane Bieber's having another monster year, as we very well expected. The home run rate has been higher than I'd like, but overall he's been pretty successful. Strikeouts are really high, walks are ridiculously low. So if we can keep this going from him, I'm going to be happy. Chris Sale coming into the All-Star break with an injury, but he's been really, really good. He's been everything that we signed or traded, I guess, for him to be. I'm almost certain he's going to take his opt out, so we will probably be trading him before the deadline because I expect his return would be outstanding. We've got Loizaga and Strom who can slot into the rotation in his absence with what I imagine to be more than just competency, so we're fine there. Julio Arias has been having a great year. He's also likely getting moved before the deadline just because he's projected to make a ton of cash in arbitration next year that I don't really want to pay him. David Peterson's having a pretty strong season. He is doing pretty well as our third or fourth, I guess, starting pitcher. We're going to have to see how he does going forwards, but I'm happy with his performance. Corbin Martin, he's had a couple rough outings, but he has settled down in his most recent start, and we're going to hope to keep his success going forwards. I'm really happy about his rates, and he looks like he'll be a good piece in our team going forwards. Anyways, we're going to hope to get some more performance out of guys like Pavin Smith. Not really Manuel Margot. I mean, it's really just Pavin Smith that we're going to hope for. We're going to have Didi Gregorius back in the near future. So, well, 6 weeks, but, kind of near future. He'll be a nice acquisition to have back on our team. Robert Gisselman is going to be back soonish as well. And Gilberto Celestino, who suffered an injury while I was simulating. So, those guys should all make pretty big additions to our team. And I think what we will do is play the All-Star game ourselves. So let's go to the All-Star Home Run Challenge, which should be tomorrow. All right, and I don't know if there's a way to simulate this, so I'm gonna find out. All right, we could not do the Home Run Derby manually, but we can do the All-Star game. So we are gonna sit back, relax, and watch this pretty cool event as the stars of both leagues compete for stuff. So, Chris Bassett, you should not be the starter in this game. We are gonna. Oh, it looks like we can't actually control that. All right, well, I guess we're just gonna have to watch. I guess maybe in years where we are in the World Series, we're gonna be able to see this stuff. So I'm just gonna simulate until we have runners in scoring position. Looks like Bassett pitches pretty, or not Bassett, whoever the NL starter is pitched a pretty clean. Okay, well, it looks like we've got Juan Soto up, Corey Seager on second, so. Oh, shoot, don't want to do pitch by pitch here. All right, we're just going to continue. Juan Soto, 2-2, and he strikes out to Chris Bassett. That's a surprise. Ozzy Albies, who's looking really good, will fly out, and that will end the inning for the National League. So it is scoreless. Heading into the second here, Brent Suter will take the mound for the NL. I have no idea how he made the All-Star game. Vlad Jr. starts it off with a double. Big shocker. Alex Bregman stands in, and he looks pretty darn good at the plate. Wow, an error. What do you know? By poor shortstop Corey Seager. And now we've got Aaron Judge at the plate. He's not the best hitter in the world, but you know what? He's still pretty good. So hopefully he can give the AL a lead here. And he will, but not without grinding into a double play first. So that's a little disappointing. Danny Jansen, who's emerged into a pretty good hitter. I'm not sure how he was the best at the AL, a catcher, but all right. And he grounds out to end the inning. So the AL gets a run and takes the lead here. Yosei Kikuchi is going to, I don't know how he made the All-Star game, but he is going to be in here against Freddie Freeman. Oh man, if Freddie Freeman hits a home run, no, not Freddie Freeman, Nelson Cruz hits a home run off of him. A 2-run home run, mind you. So Freddie Freeman or Anthony Rendon managed to reach base as well. Cal Quantrill in the All-Star game? Man, this is just crazy. All right, DJ LeMahieu is on second base for Cody Bellinger here, our star. 2-2, and it's knocked up the middle, but their shortstop, who I believe was not Willie Castro, Corey Seager, makes the play. Why is Willie Castro starting in the All-Star game? Why? Miguel Rojas is having an outstanding season. Can somebody please explain this to me? Corey Seager is up at the plate, and he will start it off with the devil. Or rather, I think he singled and then stole second base. Juan Soto, deep fly to left, but this is going to be caught. The throw to third base is not in time, and Corey Seager is in there. Ozzy Albies stands in. He's dangerous. And that's a fly ball to left field. Is it deep enough to score Corey Seager? It is not. Sean Newcomb. Why is Sean Newcomb in the All-Star game? This is just ridiculous. All right, Freddie Freeman standing in. 1-2. Fly ball to center field. It's deep, but it will not be deep enough, and the AL will end the inning without allowing a run. Newcomb walks the tightrope, but gets out of it. Richard Blyer in the All-Star game? This is just hilarious. Man, I'm loving it. Mike Trout will stand in. We're going to actually watch Trout's at bat here manually because, he's our star. He shreds that one, and it's in left field for a single. Mike Trout reaches base. All right, let's see if Vladdy can't. And the NL or the AL offense fails to get anything going. Shane Bieber will watch his inning manually. Our ace gets into his appearance for the All-Star game. 1-0 to Anthony Rendon. Grounded to third base. This should be an easy play down there. Nelson Cruz stands in. 2-2 count. Bieber looking for the strikeout, but Nelson Cruz makes contact. Not good, however, and Byron Buxton has it no problem in center field. Bryce Harper in. He's got a full count, And that is deep to right center field. Bryce Harper gets all of it and sends it out. Shane Bieber gives up a home run in the All-Star game. Christian Vasquez in 2-0 count. And that's a single into left field. Bieber's struggling here against the NL All-Stars. Trent Grisham 3-0 or 3-1. That's a single up the middle, and Bieber's in big trouble. Vasquez takes the extra base on Buxton. Francisco Lindor up, and that is shot into left field, but it will be an out to end the inning. Bieber gives up a homer and does not pitch well overall. Blake Trinan in the All-Star game? Man, this year is just so weird. The AL fails to get a base runner, and it is Aaron Bummer. Aaron Bummer with Juan Soto leading off for the NL. First two runners reach against, or two of the first three runners, I guess, reach against Aaron Bummer. JD Davis? This year's just so weird. This team is so strange. 1-2 count, Davis strikes out. Trevor Story, 0-2 to him. That's a single up the middle. Trevor Story has got himself a base hit. Buxton's arm once again fails the AL as that is a run allowed by Aaron Bummer. Bryce Harper stands in. First ball will be in play. A grounder to first base, and Vladdy has got it for the out. All right, Giovanni Gallegos standing in for the NL against Terran Vavra. How did he make the All-Star game over some of our guys? And it is a clean inning for the NL. Ryan Yarbrough in the All-Star game? Christian Vasquez steps in to face him, and it looks like Happ hit a home run. Not looking good for the AL here. Yelich has a triple, and Jazz Chisholm stands in. 1-2 count. How did Chisholm make the All-Star game? Vladdy bobbles it at first base. I think that was Vladdy. No, it's Matt Olson. Matt Olson commits an error at first base. You will never see that again, ladies and gentlemen. That was extremely weird. And a walk allowed by Yarbrough. Steve Camden, who I actually tried to trade for earlier, 2-2. He grounds it to third base. And whoever the third baseman is has thrown it away. The AL is playing Little League Baseball here. Yoeli Rodriguez comes in. What? Yoeli Rodriguez is an all-star. Okay, anyways, Trevor Story faces him. It looks like this ball will be in play. Grounded to the second baseman, and Vavra ends the inning. I'm surprised it ended. We've got Bregman leading it off against Rick Porcello, and the AL fails to make noise once again. Christian Javier coming in. Man, he's actually looking pretty interesting here as a starting pitcher. Having a pretty good season over there in Houston. Chad Spurgeon? I've never heard of this guy before. He just came out of literally nowhere, it seems. Alright, anyways. The NL does not make noise, and here is Zach Gallen in for the NL to pitch. I believe he's with Arizona still, so Zach Gallen making an all-star appearance, and the AL is making some noise here. Kurloff singles Vavra over to third, and we've got Kyle Tucker at the plate. 1-2 count, and Tucker strikes out swinging. Gallen gets out of the mess, and it's going to be a tough one here for the AL. Aroldis Chapman, the closer, comes in, and he pitches a clean inning. Matt Olson, and the NL whoops the AL in the All-Star game. Nelson Cruz gets player of the game. That was an interesting one. All right. And we will go on. Oh, man. Eddie Rosario sent from the to the Tigers for James Marvell. You know, let's try to get James Marvell. I actually like this pitcher a lot. He's got some good potential, and man, there's nothing we can do to get him. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to the simulating, so I'll pull you guys out when I've got news, probably close to the trade deadline. All right, I've got a trade here with Chris Sale. I consider actually a direct upgrade. So we are going to be giving up Chris Sale and Adley Rutschman as the two primary pieces of this trade. I don't actually think Rutschman has that much hitting potential, and that's really what carries him as a catcher. So I'm more than willing to move him. In return, we are going to be getting Dodgers young ace Dustin May, who is in pre-arbitration still, and therefore should be quite cheap to retain. I'm going to try to give him a long-term extension. He has really good looking ratings, high control, above average movement, and some good stuff to go with it. We're also getting Tommy Conley, who will be a rental relief pitcher upgrade, just a small improvement over what we've got right now. And prospect Michael Bush, who I just had to throw in this Xavier Curry guy to acquire. So I think this is a win for us overall. I like it. And Chris Sale very likely to take his opt out, which would completely ruin the point of having him. So having Dustin May, a guy that we will actually have control over for 4 years, that's a big win in my opinion. I'll come back to you guys with the next bit of news. All right, we've got a package together for a third baseman who will be better than Didi Gregorius and should have us covered until our top prospect is ready to come up. Anthony Rendon has been traded back to the Nationals. He's got defense that I think is livable, and his hitting is obviously among the best for any third baseman in the majors right now. We are going to be sending Julio Urias and Didi Gregorius as the primary parts of the package to the Nationals. We're also going to be giving them Tyler Freeman, who we will not need if we are going to be relegating Devin Marrero back to that utility role, Carson Tucker, who's not really a big prospect for us, and Yordis Valdez to get the retention percentage up a little bit higher. Overall, this improves our money for now and in the future. I like Rendon a whole lot. I think we win this trade. And yeah, he's going to be a big deal for us going forward. So I'll get back to you guys with the next bit of news. All right, we are giving Dustin May a long-term extension to stick around in Cleveland and hopefully be a pretty useful presence for us going forwards at the top of the rotation. So this is a pretty good deal. He's only making 15 million at the end of it. Pretty team friendly, and I'm sure he would be worth much more than that at going forward. So yeah, I like that deal for Marrero or not Marrero. For May. And yeah, I'll get back to you guys when I have more news. Now, when we acquired Miguel Rojas, we knew he was only going to be a 1 year option. He's not really affordable to extend, and while he has been an amazing shortstop for us, I've got a new option here. Nick Ahmed, who is affordable for 2 seasons, he will be our new shortstop going forwards. While Rojas, again, would have been a 1 year option, we would have had to call up Nick Allen probably after he left. Nick Ahmed will allow us to extend that window for our shortstop by 1 year. Game 20% retained is a nice little bonus. So while I don't think this necessarily improves our team for this year, I think that's a big upgrade for next season. And it's honestly not too much of a downgrade for this one. Ahmed is a fine offensive player. He is definitely there for his fielding, but I think it's a good deal. I think we benefit. So again, I'm gonna look around for some more trades, but this may be the last one we really do before the deadline, and I'll get back to you guys when we have something big happen next. We are going to give Austin Hedges a 2 year extension for $2.5 million a year. That's pretty much a bargain for a guy with so much catcher defense. He's a captain as well. And yeah, I'm just happy to have Hedges retained. Hopefully his hitting gets slightly better. Any upgrade would be much welcome there, but we're glad to keep him back. So yeah, we have got another shortstop swap here, so I did not realize that Andrelton Simmons was actually on a pretty affordable contract with the Cubs. So as a result, I have decided that he is going to be our solution at shortstop, and a long-term one at that. He is by far the best fielder of the 3 guys that we have looked at so far. We're giving them obviously Nick Ahmed to make this one happen. In addition to Reggie Lawson and Gilberto Celestino, they will retain 75% of Simmons' contract, so that is going to help us in the long term financially as well. And I definitely foresee him being our shortstop of the future, which is great news because he is an outstanding player. Anyways, I will once again get back to you guys when we've got more news, and yeah, probably the last move we're making before the trade deadline, though. We've got an interesting one here. The Nationals want to dump Tyler Rogers for some reason. He is definitely one of the better relievers in the game. Really quality guy. We're getting $2 million in this trade as well. We're sending a no-name catcher in Kem Abner. Actually, I like him, so we're going to send somebody else. But we're going to send basically a nobody to the Nationals to make this trade happen. Trade Benton, definitely not a quality player. Tyler Rogers is again, a very good reliever. He's out for 2 months, but I think he's going to be back in time for the playoffs, and he'll definitely help us out in future years. So getting money, getting a quality reliever, and giving up nothing. This is a good one. There are actually a couple other relievers I'm interested in investigating at the deadline, so I'll let you guys know if we can grab any of those. Unfortunately, the trades that I had planned fell through, but heading into the post-deadline season, we are going to be 9 games up on the White Sox, 20 games up on the third place Twins, and that would put us, 14 games up on a wild card spot, so we're virtually assured to make the playoffs at this point. Things are looking pretty good for our team. I will come back to you guys probably when the play or rosters expand rather, and then we will make our way through the rest of the season. All right, so rosters have expanded today. I think we're going to call up Nick Sandlin right now. Oh, actually, they have not expanded today. All right, so I think we're only a couple of days. Yeah, we're only a couple of days away. Cody Bellinger looks like almost a surefire MVP winner this year. We've unfortunately dealt with a couple of injuries that have caused us to do things like call up Mike Rivera. Honestly, I don't dislike Mike Rivera. He might be somebody that we use at catcher, like backup maybe long term at some point, but yeah, we temporarily called up Nick Allen as well because Anthony Rendon, who by the way has been outstanding since we traded for him, went down with an injury. Um, and yeah, he was not great. Nick Allen kind of struggled. He played in about 10 games and was not the best. So I'm tempted to call up Nick Robertson as our other option, but I think it's gonna be Nick Nelson. Give him a chance out of an MLB bullpen. Is Will Vest on our roster? Yeah, Will Vest is on the 40 man. Yeah, Will Vest looks pretty good. I think we're probably going to end up trading Nick Nelson in the offseason along with some other guys, but we're going to give Vest and Sandlin a couple of shots here in the major leagues. Matt Strum has been pretty good in the rotation, except one start against Oakland apparently, so hopefully we could trade him in the offseason, but he has had a good run. Dustin May has been dominant since we traded for him. He's been very effective again, except for a single start against Tampa Bay. Shane Bieber has just been better and better all the time. He's not walking anybody. He's not allowing home runs. He's striking out loads of players. He's having an awesome year. Corbin Martin has continued to struggle. I really hope he can figure it out. The walks are really the only thing I see here that's bad. His strikeout rate is outstanding. I don't understand why he's having so much issue. It's probably just really terrible luck. His BABIP isn't even that bad. David Peterson has been one of our biggest surprises of the season as he's had an outstanding year. And overall, it looks like Pavin Smith's starting to hit better. Mike Trout has regressed. He's not playing like he should be. Cody Bellinger's on fire. Nick Senzel, he's been really good since we traded for him as well. Anthony Rendon obviously has been really good. David Fletcher's probably getting traded in the offseason. I'm not happy with the guy putting up this offensive production and barely above average defense at second base. I'm not sure what we're going to do with Margot long term, but he's been a great fielder who just hits decently. Simmons has not hit since we traded for him, but the fielding has been as advertised. So I'll see you guys again, likely at the end of the season, and we'll head into the playoffs looking pretty good. We have got some pretty bad news here. While I'm not a big fan of David Fletcher right now, he was a pretty big part of the team, and he's now out with a 4-week injury. We are unable to trade for a second baseman to replace him. And we don't really have any guys in the system capable of doing the job. Devin Marrero is not trained at second base, so I don't really consider him a viable option here. We may honestly have to call up like Nick Allen to be our second baseman just because we really don't have an option B right now. I guess Richard Palacios can kind of fill the role. He's at least a decent hitter. So I think we're going to call him up and use him at second base as our emergency guy. Hopefully not Devin Marrero. Uh, Hopefully David Fletcher is healthy for the playoffs because this is probably not a very good option in the playoffs. And yeah, all right. Well, right now we're 11 and a half games up on the White Sox. Still the best record in the AL, I believe. So we're going to keep going, finish the year, hopefully finish strong, and I'll see you guys then. Just going to quickly pull you guys out for a really cool development. We were talking about how Corbin Martin has just been really unlucky, and this month he completely rewrote the script and won Pitcher of the Month, going 5-0, winning every start, chalking up a .59 ERA, 32 strikeouts in 30.2 innings. An impressive month for Martin for sure. Overall, we're doing pretty well. Pavin Smith has really turned his season around as well. He is now on our WAR leaderboards, having a pretty good finish. Mike Trout just disappointing. We're probably going to deal him in the offseason while we still have our optimal value. Bellinger should be in contention for a triple crown, but unfortunately there are some guys with a ridiculously high batting average, so he'll just have to settle for MVP, home run, and RBI lead. Nick Senzel has been awesome. Anthony Rendon, he's kind of regressed to where he was with Washington, but he's still doing really well for us. Richard Palacios, he's been all right since we called him up. Can't complain. Simmons has not hit, but man, is he fielded. And yeah, that's pretty. Oh, yeah, and Austin Hedges is added to his rating, so he's actually a slightly better hitter now, amazingly, which should improve his value going forwards. Hopefully, we get a better version of Austin Hedges. Anyways, we've clinched our playoff spot. We are at 97 and 57. We got Jose Leclerc back off the injured list, so I'm probably also going to trade him in the offseason. I hope he gets into a game or two, though. David Fletcher should be back in time for the playoffs, thank goodness. So that's the good news. I'll see you guys for the playoffs, and hopefully we can make some noise there. All right, as expected, we have won the AL Central. 103 and 59 will be our final record. Frankly, I find that slightly disappointing. Pavin Smith really resurged at the end of the year to finish over 4 WAR. Cody Bellinger leads the league in RBIs and home runs. He also leads at OPS in slugging and WAR, which will likely win him the MVP. Mike Trout has a pretty disappointing finish, and yeah, Cody Bellinger, honestly, just such a great year. Nick Senzel turns out to be quite the acquisition, having an outstanding finish for our team. Anthony Rendon, another great acquisition. He had a great season with us. Uh, Basically, he did better here than he did in Washington, although, once again, this is a guy that's not going to be with our team long term, I think. David Fletcher came back and finished the year decently, so hopefully he can keep that going into the playoffs. And overall, the pitching was pretty strong. I think Shane Bieber, yeah, he won the ERA crown, led the league in games started, innings pitched, strikeouts, whip, walk rate, home or strikeout rate, and WAR. So he's likely going to win the Cy Young. All right. Anyways, we're going to just hop right into the playoffs here. Oh, by the way, a little note about our playoff team: we're running a 4-man rotation since you don't need 5 guys in the playoffs. You have enough off days that you can just run through your best 4 starters. Every single guy here is really good. I'm very confident in every single one of our pitchers. As a corresponding move, I moved Matt Strom to the bullpen. I expect he'll be much more effective there. Well, not much more effective, but he'll be better in the bullpen. And hopefully we can see some good performances in long relief from him. We have also got Brett DeJuice on our playoff roster. As you guys probably expected, Justin Verlander did not make our playoff roster because he is just crap by this point. He had a fine year. He gave us 1 win. But I mean, at the same time, we paid him $10 million to do it, so not really a worthwhile player. That was a bad deal for us. Definitely going to decline his team option at the end of the season. All right, anyways, we're going to be playing until we get to an elimination round. For us, we're going to simulate first elimination game, and then that'll be it. So hopefully we can beat the White Sox easily here, up 2-0. And are we going to? Yep, we sweep the White Sox to the championship series, which will be against the Yankees. Go up 1-0. Tied at 1 here, 2-1 lead, tied at 2, 3-2. Uh-oh, and the Yankees beat us in the championship series before I could cancel autoplay. Tyler Rogers, who would have been back in time for the World Series, will miss it because we had some bad luck loss in the playoffs against the Yankees. So we're going to have to hope for better next year. I will definitely be making improvements to this team in the offseason so we can improve upon our prior year. Once again, I think our midseason acquisitions have us well set up for next year as well. So hopefully that helps. And it will be the Cardinals and the Yankees in the World Series. Cardinals go up 2-2, Yankees up 3-2, and the Yankees are the World Series champions in 2022, which is disgusting. At least the Dodgers didn't even make the playoffs. That does make me happy. Oh, I think we had something pretty good going on. I just want to. Ooh, interesting that Javi Guerra's on the waivers. Let's claim him. All right, so we're going to add Javi Guerra to our team. Jose Alvarado has fallen far, man. All right, anyway. On to our end of season notes here. We have a lot of expiring personnel contracts that I'm going to be sure to take care of. So Justin Verlander option needed. What the heck? I didn't make a decision. Please tell me he's not on our roster anymore, because if he's on our roster, I'm just going to get rid of him. Justin Verlander. I don't see him here, so that's good. Oh, he retired. Okay. So it doesn't even matter. He's just done with baseball. All right, so our owner's happy that we got Cody Bellinger. No shocker. He's happy about our record. He's happy about our attendance. And he wants us to extend Tommy Conley, which was not part of the plan when we traded for him, owner. Yeah, we're not extending Tommy Conley. Not a chance at that price. He's just going to walk, and our owner's going to be unhappy. We're set at a $176,000 budget. So that's good. I think we're getting that's a huge budget increase from last year, actually, a $16 million increase. We will have a lot of cash available as well. So, yeah, Justin Verlander retires. We've got some players retiring on every level. That does not matter to me. We've got a lot of personnel leaving. That doesn't matter either. They were bad personnel. Jorge Ochoco, Diamondbacks pitching prospect, is now the #1 prospect in baseball. Steve Soto, the first overall draft pick, will be the #2 ranked prospect with the Reds. We were hoping we could get him, but did not. We have 3, 4, and 5 in Bobby Perez, the top third base prospect, Jose Arena, and Clint Rush, who I'm going to set to third base because there's no chance I'm going to let him keep playing shortstop. We've got Jose Diaz at #6 too, actually. So we got 4 consecutive top prospects. Kumar Rocker making waves with the Red Sox, astoundingly. So he is now a top prospect with them. Jack Leiter, a top prospect with the Blue Jays. Jesus Puela, the guy I decided to not sign, a top prospect with the Mariners. And Mike Hopgood, out of nowhere, a top prospect with the A's? That seems wrong to me. So we're going to see him fall in the future. All right, looks like just some irrelevant news about guys getting fired. All right, well, looking at our situation here financially, we've got $10 million in budget room to spend, actually, so we haven't even hit our budget limit. We've got, obviously, a ton of cash to work with as well. So let's take a look at our guys in arbitration. David Peterson and Matt Strom are both projected to make quite a bit. Let's see if Peterson wants a long-term extension. All right, he might be on the way out. Strom, he wants $3 million. That's not too bad in arbitration, but again, he could be on the way out. I'm very likely to trade Heuer and Loizaga. Tyler Rogers is sticking around. There's no question about that. We'll just give him a quick $700,000 in arbitration. Man, that is just such a good deal for us. All right, looks like it's going to be 735 actually, but still a very good deal. And Devin Marrero, we'll give him $1.5 million. I don't see any reason to not keep him around. He's a great utility infielder, and worst case scenario, we can always just trade him away later. Tommy Conley will be hitting free agency. Manuel Margot, what do you want for an extension? I'm more curious. Yeah, we're giving him a QO. If he accepts it, it's not the end of the world either. But I'm sure he's going to reject it and head for free agency. Let's see here. Steve Barrett wants to become a free agent. We're going to offer him a minor league extension. I don't think anyone else here is worth. Caleb Joseph, he's good too. These guys are really just injury depth. If we have any problems at catcher, it's nice to have guys that can fill in. Other than that, I want to take a quick look at the free agents list, just to make sure there's nobody big there or of any significance. Okay, if this guy wants a minor league contract, he would be a great acquisition for us. Won Seok-go. He's probably a posted player that I missed. Maybe not. I don't think posts have been made yet, so. Alright, I'm going to look for trades for some of our guys in arbitration, make some moves, and I'll get back to you guys once I've completed that. Alright, everyone, our first trade here is a very lateral one. David Peterson, who is projected to make a lot of money in arbitration for Jacob Nix. Now, the main thing about this is Jacob Nix is just cheaper and younger. So David Peterson is heading into his 4th year in the majors. Jacob Nix is just heading into his 3rd. Also, he had a really bad year between San Diego and AAA, where actually he was all right in AAA, but he was definitely bad in San Diego. So the hope here is that we could get him on a cheap long-term extension, which we could not with Peterson. Ultimately, with the profiles, we're giving up a pitch and a little bit of movement for some control. So I don't think he's necessarily better, but for one extra year of control and a whole lot cheaper, I'm liking this enough to make it happen. So I'll get back to you guys with the next deal, probably involving another one of our more expensive players. Another lateral pitching move here. Jonathan Loizaga, who was one of our bigger relievers this season, will be going over to the Phillies for Spencer Howard, a guy I think could work out in the rotation quite nicely. He struggled as well, so he's going to be cheaper. He's also only 1 year into his major league career, which will make him much more controllable. Um, Overall, I think it's another one of these cases where we're trying to build our team to be more successful in the long run. Alright, this is probably not one that you guys were expecting or that I was expecting, but I realized that with Manuel Margot about to hit free agency, we needed a center field solution. So, looking at the Colorado Rockies prospects, I noticed Mike Perfetto, who was a minor league free agent signing for them, has ridiculous outfield range, so he's a great center fielder. This guy's basically a Christian Pache, but with a little less defense. He is a spark plug that I think has a really high potential in center field, so he is a good acquisition. We'll be sending a 3-player package including Emmanuel Clace, Nick Allen, and Philip Abner. Overall, I think this one gets us a player we really need, even if it is at a little bit of a higher cost, so we're going to be making it. And yeah, I'll get back to you guys with the next update. This has more to do with the rest of the team than it does with Matt Strom, a player I really like personally. I just don't think we've got a spot for him that really makes sense, and he would cost us a fair bit next year. So we're getting Melvin Jimenez from the Dodgers, who's a decent relief prospect, and Alex Manoah, who we actually traded them a while ago, who is a top prospect. Hopefully we can either use Manoah well in our team, probably in the bullpen, or trade him to another team for a good amount. Clark Schmidt is also going over to the Dodgers. He's not a huge throw in, really. He's hitting 27, and he still doesn't have an obvious spot on our team. So I'm glad that we can get Manoah for Schmidt. I think that's a big addition. But it is really about getting Strom off the team and getting rid of his salary, unfortunately. So I'll see what I can do, but I think this is it for the major trades before we hit the offseason. I was thinking about trading Cody here, actually, as you guys probably remember me saying, but I ended up deciding that we couldn't really get enough for him, and he's not a bad reliever to have around for $1 million. So we're going to retain Cody here. I offered him that quick contract. He had a pretty good year with us, and hopefully we can get that again from him next year. So I'm going to simulate ahead until free agency. We'll look over the award winners and then get some potential free agents. I'm not really sure if we're going to be doing that, but we'll see. We got some bad news here. Our scouting director, who was probably the best scouting director available, has decided to be a piece of crap and signed with the Braves as GM. So we will no longer have him available. I'm going to have to find us a new scouting director. Hopefully one that doesn't leave us for another team. Anyways, in other news, it looks like we don't have a single Gold Glove winner somehow, so we're going to have to hope for better luck next year on the defensive side of things, and I'll get back to you guys when we've got our new scouting director. All right, I've decided that we're going to sign Michael Hill. He's basically the same profile as RJ Harrison as a scout. He's going to cost us $1 million a year, and hopefully he doesn't leave for another team because there really aren't too many other scouting options available. So I'll get back to you guys with free agents and then we'll move on. Well, Michael Hill is already paying dividends to his new organization. Manny Coronado, a very interesting pitching prospect, was his very first scouting discovery. In other news, Mike Trout and Cody Bellinger are the only guys on our team to win Silver Sluggers. The top rookie in the league will be Alex Kurloff. Not really a surprise. He had an outstanding season for the Twins. I believe he actually won the batting title. And Bob Melvin will somehow beat us out for manager of the year. So next time that we are back, it should be free agents unless something crazy happens. Free agents are here. So we've got a couple of interesting things to look over. First of all, Manuel Margot has accepted the qualifying offer. I'm going to try to trade him. If I can't get a good deal, I have no problem using him as our center fielder for this year. The other big one is Cody Bellinger won the MVP unanimously, and Shane Bieber pretty much unanimously won the Cy Young. So pretty good year for our guys in terms of awards. And we're going to have to take a quick look at free agents. So I will do that and get back to you guys once I've had a quick scan of them. Before we get to free agents, I actually did want to trade Manuel Margot because again, he's making $9 million. So we are getting in return a rangy outfield prospect who is a leader, Omar Orama, who I'm hoping could make the majors at some point, probably as a utility man rather than the starter. But he's a good guy, and we're getting $1 million in the trade as well. So our former scouting director is the first guy to make a trade with us this offseason, and we will be the first to trade with him. So that'll. All right, so I have come to a conclusion that there are three free agents I am interested in attempting to sign, and there is one trade we are going to make. So the three free agents here are shortlisted. I've got Chun Mei Zhao, who is a really high stuff reliever coming over from, I believe, Taiwan. Really nice personality, decent stamina. I'm really loving the stuff, though. That's the big reason. And $8 million for a top end reliever, I think, is about right. Now, Kirby Yates is another really solid reliever that he's got a lot of stuff as well, above average control. He only wants a 1 year, $6 million contract, which I think is a bargain, especially after the season he just had. So we're going to definitely look at signing him. And the last guy is Juan Lora, who is probably the cheapest high-end reliever available. He has high intelligence. He is really good on that movement and solid stuff. Decent control as well. He wants less than $5 million a year. So these are the guys we're going to look at. And the trade that we are going to make is with the Chicago White Sox. We will receive Liam Hendricks, who they want to actually dump. They do not like the salary he's making for the quality of player he is. I still think he's a reasonably high leverage reliever. He just had an outstanding year with them, posting a sub 200 ERA. So I think he's actually a strong addition into our bullpen, in addition to making the rest of the return much cheaper to acquire. We're going to be getting Chris Kraus, who's an outstanding relief prospect here. Really good potential across the board. Great personality. This is my type of guy. We're really glad to get him. Jamie Burke is a nice little outfield prospect. He could be a center fielder one day or just a utility guy. He's got a good personality. He's a former second round pick. Good base running, decent hitting. So another solid acquisition there. Gavin Sheets is a solid hitter. I'm not honestly all that certain about what we'll end up doing with him. But he was free to acquire, very easy to get. He is outspoken, but again, this is a guy that can really hit. I think he's a nice pickup. Again, it's mostly for the cost than anything. And we are going to be swapping David Fletcher for Nick Madrigal, who is just hitting his first year of arbitration. He will have 4 years in total, so we'll have 3 years of team control. Hopefully, look to extend him. He's a captain, which is great. He has a great hitting profile. He's definitely an upgrade over Fletcher in that regard. He's younger. Fletcher has been kind of on the decline for the past couple of years. He's been disappointing in the one season we had him. I think Madrigal can provide a little bit more offensive value, particularly with the batting average. We'll have to see if he can add too much or much extra upon that. I think the defense is probably a little bit worse here with Madrigal, but again, that captain ability in the youth is really what we're looking at that we like here about him. Now, going over to the White Sox, in addition to Madrigal, will be Nick Mikhailovic, who is one of our decent relief prospects. He's MLB ready. He just had a solid year in AA. A lot of teams like him, and he is a really good trade chip, but I think it's worth it for that upgrade. Maximo Acosta, who we acquired with really high hopes of being a potential future third baseman on our roster. I think those hopes are kind of gone at this point for me. I'm less than thrilled about how he has come along in our system, and I'm surprised how high his trade value is at this point. I think we need to capitalize on it while we still can. Nico Cole is just a mediocre prospect. I have no problems trading him. And Drew Rasmussen, definitely one of our higher end relievers, also capable of being a decent starting pitcher. Will go over to complete this deal. He is one of our highest value trade chips at this point, and while he is good and controllable, I don't see why we keep him around when we can get a ridiculous amount of stuff for him. Notably, we will also be acquiring the White Sox first round draft pick in this deal. And yeah, that's going to help us hopefully pick up a nice big player in the draft next year. So overall, I think this is a big win for us. I think we're getting a lot of stuff. I'd consider Liam Hendricks like the equivalent of one of the higher leverage reliever free agent signings. I don't know why his overall is so low. His ratings look pretty good to me. Hopefully, we could get a good year out of him, and we will probably be declining his team option next year. I will get back to you guys once I've got the free agent signings set. All right, so the first guy that I have here is Chunmain Zhao, who is the really high stuff relief pitcher. He wanted a player option on that last year and $8 million over 4 years, so I just dropped his average annual value by $1 million. Took that option out. This is the contract we're going to offer him. Usually, international relievers will sign for about that much. I think it's good value, so two more guys to sign. I'll probably do Kirby Yates next. All right, so our initial offer to Kirby Yates is going to be $5.5 million. I think this is once again a really nice value offer. We should see him sign. He's probably gone at the trade deadline, but I think he's a nice pickup for the first half, and we'll likely see a good return for him. And here's our initial offer to Juan Lara. This is going to be $4.5 million average annual value, $4 million, $4.5 million, and $5 million over the 3 years of the contract. He will technically be arbitration eligible after that, so if he pitches really well, we might retain him for that period as well. And that'll be it for our free agent signing. So I don't think I'm going to do any major moves for the rest of the offseason. I think our team is relatively set heading into the offseason. So this is going to be it for this episode. I will get back to you guys in the next episode at the start of the season, and hopefully we can make big things happen. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.